Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream of Imperator Rome, where we are playing as Langobardia. These are, of course, the Longbeards of the Carpathian Mountains, based here in Ibdura, where we have been starting to civilize our nation. We're actually up to 40 civilization in in our capital, and that is in fact the maximum. And the magic number that we are trying to get to is 50. Right, because we just did 40, which allowed us to become a settled state instead of a migratory state. We are civilizing everything at the moment. We do need to enact absolute authority, which I believe requires level 5 oratory. So the next thing that we're trying to work on is our technology. So we are really trying to get more and more citizens in the nation. The other thing which is going on at the moment is, as I said, civilizing the entire realm, and we do have a lot of civilization efforts currently underway with that in mind. Is there a civilization map mode? I don't think there is. No. Yes, there is, actually. Haha! So we are pretty well civilized, actually, down here in the south. Wow, we're actually at 37%. Interesting. And in the north, we don't have nearly as much. Alright, well, in that case, what I'm kind of thinking of doing is promoting pops from tribesmen to freemen, which would also allow us to change the provincial strategy. Is there a way that I can see what type of pops are in each place? Tribesmen, 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 tribesmen. Okay, there are a lot of tribesmen there. A lot of tribesmen there. Slaves, freemen, tribesmen. Okay, so in the south we're doing a little bit better, but still not amazing. The other thing that we do have going on are some barbarians trying to run away from me, so let's go and send you to go intercept them. And then also potentially some colonization possible. Conus, for example. Indeed we can. Anywhere else? Tundum has a lot of tribesmen, but we could move the slaves to Ripperum. Ripperuni. And I think I like that idea. So we're going to move you guys to Ripperum. And move your slaves to Ripperum as well. It's really cheap to do. I'm going to leave one because we do actually have a slave pop growing at the moment, and I'd like them to finish. And then once we have... oh, there's 10. Sufficient people, then we can actually start to colonize another province. What should we go for? I think probably Castrana sounds like a good choice, except that we are going to need to do some conversion. And there we go. Oh, there are no tribesmen. Okay, we'll use the citizen then, I guess. Good. And here, can we take that? No. That's because that was just emptied by a slave revolt. Do we have any more slaves in this area? No, because they were all in that province. Gorion has quite a few, but I want to keep a balance of people here as well. Anyway, hello everyone. How are you all doing? Hello, hello, hello. Marshall copying me there. How far are we in tech compared to the civilized south? How can tribes close that gap in general? Just by civilizing, like we are doing it right now. It's going to be difficult for us. There's no, like, equalizing system to allow us to balance up with them. It's just a way of stopping them getting further ahead, so they might already be at the ahead of time tech penalty, while we don't have any such penalties. But we have no bonus, which is a little bit weird, because that's the system that Paradox usually likes to use, is to basically make technologies cheaper the further behind you are. But we don't have that at the moment. But they're on like level 8, level 9, we're on level 1, so we're a long way behind. A very long way. But we are getting a lot of citizens, so we should be ranking up pretty quickly. Our research efficiency is now up to 46, which is decent. We are going to want to improve that even further. Preferably to get it to 100, 150 thereabouts, which is going to require rather more citizens than we currently have. But in the meantime, I do want to continue expanding. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of tribesmen we need to convert. An awful lot. And then over here, do we have any big population centers? You have 8. Are there any slaves? Yes, actually. A couple. But they're all in the wrong place. Well, let's grab these 3 slaves and move them to Varennia and then Agnuresia. Unfortunately, those are in different provinces. Well, they're all in different provinces. So that's going to be causing some problems. Why can't I do this? Oh, because they're disloyal. Right, that was a problem that we were having. Are they all disloyal? Yes. And we were starting to fix the disloyalty by using nearby armies. Right, can we move people from here? Okay, so these can now actually move, which is great. We have quite a few slaves. Alright, so if we move... You have 10 already. In fact, we can just go and colonize this. Oh, except you're going to need to be assimilated. And converted. Oh, they're already converted. It's just assimilation that needs to be done. And we're out of oratory. I think we'll just need to wait for a bit longer. The main thing is catching these and destroying it, though. So hopefully they can get to, say... Wait, hang on. How did you... Oh, barbarians can cross impassable. Because they just ignored that fort. That's interesting. What's your combat ability? 5. And we will be meeting in Ubertora for a battle. Now, do we actually have army maintenance raised? We do. We have an amount of money to fight them as well. Battle is joined. So this is my light cavalry, chariots and archers versus heavy infantry, light infantry and light cavalry. We smashed them. We are going to need to chase and destroy. And thankfully they're running back into my territory, which is lovely. I wonder if they have to withdraw, like, outside of our lands. I'm not sure. What am I going to after this? As in, what game am I going to do after this? What nation am I going to do after this? Important part of your question there missing, Fluffy. Is there any reason to use light infantry? Yeah, a huge reason. Light infantry take a lot less attrition than basically any other unit, especially heavier units. So... Light infantry count as half a unit in terms of supply weight. So what you can do is have 1 light infantry and 1 heavy infantry, and they will count as 2 units, rather than the heavy infantry counting for 1.5. So 2 heavy infantry count as 3 soldiers, for example. So a really good way actually of balancing an army is to have a 1-for-1 ratio. Also, light infantry takes less morale damage. So they make great holding troops. So if you want to discover what kind of strategy your opponent is using, then get an army with light infantry, use them in skirmish formation, push ahead of your regular army, and then follow up the attack with heavies. What nation am I going to do after this? No idea. Depends when I finish this and who takes my fancy. Probably is civilized, because we haven't done one yet. And we did do a little bit with Rome yesterday, just for something a little bit different. I just fancied going back to Langobards today. Am I still going to be able to make those emergency elephants? I can use elephants, yes, I have access to them. But they are super heavy units, I just don't have the supply to really support that. Country civilization +2, so oratory has just gone up. Also, we could actually get another military tradition, but I think we want to wait for our military tech to advance before we do that. Make it that much cheaper. So we just got +2 oratory. We can get centralized comites. Ooh, change governor policy cost -20 is really good. Whole triumph cost, haven't really been using that. And the monthly loyalty would also be nice. But changing the governor policy would be really strong, actually. Also, can I improve my stability? No, 416. Hang on, do I have someone who increases power cost? No, that was the populist in the Rome game. Oh great, we're a lunatic. Fantastic. A forgiving, reckless lunatic. Awesome. And I think I'm going to start saving civic power to try and get... Well, I don't need to, because we've already got loads of inventions, although a bunch of inventions are about to be unlocked. We're definitely doing quite nicely for technology at the moment, which is great. And the more civilization we get, so the more oratory power we get, the further that boost will go. So we can now get up to 42, so local citizen, local freeman happiness is going up and up and up. Local pop growth is going up. However, we are starting to struggle now with tribesman happiness. So how is the provincial happiness? It's generally okay. It's actually a bit low here in the south. What region is this? That would be Langobardia. So Hakon Longbeard is currently assigned... Oh no, it's not. Well, let's go ahead and dismiss you. And then we'll assign you to this region. And the benefit of doing that is it will increase our provincial loyalty rather substantially. And we are also, I think, going to raise a second unit of light infantry, which we're just going to hold in Dacia to try and improve its general loyalty as well. So we'll start building those troops. We have easily got the money to support that, so yeah. Recruit. Oh, actually, unless, of course, this is a double size. Hakon Longbeard has no light infantry at all. Do I not have any light infantry units which is just dedicated to that? Yeah, we do. Oh, it's the first war host. So they already are designated. So in fact, let's undesignate you. Then bring you down here to Dacia to go and deal with that. And let's move you to Donar. Perfect. Eager to try out Moria? Really? United Indian Empire would be beyond terrifying for the rest of the world. It also feels like that would be a very easy game. Which is why I was so surprised. Due process... Ooh, ruler popularity is nice. Sacrifice to the gods, so that's cheaper stability. And wrong culture group happiness. We don't think we have a huge problem with that. The one I definitely want is the governor policy cost change. Because I have a feeling that we're going to start changing governor policies fairly soon. Anglia has given me 100 ducats. That's exceedingly generous of them. Why on earth would they do that? I love how we're just this glowing beacon of civilization in this region. Like, we're almost as civilized as Rome is. That's actually kind of impressive. At least here in the south. In the north it's still going to take some more work. But we're working on it. How's the loyalty? It's going up. Pannonia is also getting some disloyalty. So we kind of need extra units in both of those locations. thought I had you moving south. Oh no, not you. Where's Hakon? Hakon's here. Hakon's moving south. Can I split you in half? I think what I'm going to do is create one unit, which is going to be one, and then I'm going to have 2 sets of 20,000 light infantry, which we can then use for sieges and stuff like that too. In fact, what I might even do is split you in half again, because I quite like these 10,000 stacks. I think the 10,000 stacks work very nicely. Now, is that modifier always the same? I kind of assumed it would be on a per unit basis, but that might not be true. Eagers play as Etruria and Armenia. Honestly, there's so many nations I want to play as, except for Rome. Rome is good for learning. That's what I would recommend using them for. Use Rome, learn the game, and then you can always move on from there. Freezy wants access. Fine. No real reason not to say yes. And I think that we can probably go ahead and start building some more granaries too. Let's get granaries at these locations. Although we will need to save a little bit of money for stronger soldiers. More soldiers even, not stronger ones, just more. More? You want more? Where in this area can you actually go where there'll be supply? Abatis. Abatis is in the right region. That's the downside to having these bigger units. And you can sit in Amatria. So one of the other things that was pointed out is the provincial capital is the one with the most population usually. So it makes a pretty good position to send the soldiers to. What person do I admire from the Vikings? If you mean Vikings in general, Leif Erikson. If you mean the Vikings TV show, I haven't seen enough of it to really say. There's one series I really need to sit down and watch. Let's get you some more light infantry. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so you can get 3 more. Cool. Although, actually, one thing I want to see... We'll deal with the scandal, then we'll look at that. Scandal is, unfortunately, part of the average day of the Langobardian clan council. So we have the governor of Dacia versus a random Geroldus. And they're, in fact, friends. Well, we're going to say... Well, actually, none of your business. Totia gets disloyal. Start seeing Duogan as a rival, and I lose a bit of popularity. Won't tolerate it. Hammond loses his position, which I definitely don't want to have happen. Totia gains loyalty. He stands a chance of losing some damage. Nope, we're going to say none of my business. And the other thing I wanted to do was double check to see if that's... Okay, minus 0.04. So it looks like minus 0.1 is actually the maximum. No, it's not. Okay, so it does scale depending on your soldiers. I've only seen 2 episodes, perhaps only the pilot. I think I've only seen the pilot. Like, it's one of those shows that I've intended to sit down and watch, just haven't gotten around to doing it. Which is very unfortunate, because it does look cool. Civic advances, commerce goes up, wages go down. So we should be making some more money. Oh, and, Marshall also went up. I missed that message. Siege engineers, fort defense, military tradition cost. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to wait until we get the civic power for material science. And then we'll get the military traditions, because they are getting quite a lot cheaper now. And then hopefully we can get 2 of them in one go. Anyway, level 2. Done. Excellent. Right, and we can now definitely afford to sacrifice the gods, which we are going to do. And then possibly a round of promotions. So I think we're going to start with Ciscapathia. Like so. It does mean that we'll have less slaves in this area, but it also means that we're going to have more manpower recovery, and just generally more manpower, and also probably more happiness. Let me find a place which has a bit of... There we go. Your happiness is still 100%. Freeman happiness at the moment is 54%. So no, Freeman are actually less happy. But we have a lot... I mean, as long as it's above 50, I don't think it's a problem. So we need to double check that in the future. Make sure it's at the right levels. Or are you taking attrition? Is that just normal winter? It is. Anglia wants access. Fine. We are currently losing attrition, but that's just because it's winter times, and winter tends to be quite cold. Weirdly enough. Our high priestess... No, start again. Our high priest, Hammond Eitgid, has asked for more funding for his religious ceremonies. With a larger budget to gather the materials necessary for a proper ceremony, he argues that we would get a closer relationship to the divine. So we could spend a bunch of money, gain some religious power, and he gains some loyalty. We just say, And I'm going to go, And then I think I'm probably going to need to... Oh, he's righteous. Alright, so Hammond is disloyal and could cause us some problems in the future. So I feel like Hammond is going to get replaced, because Hildemund is quite a lot more loyal. And I don't want him getting that wage, which means that he can raise more money, which means he can get a bigger army. That's dangerous. And yeah, he's very disloyal now. And Vistula Inferiortis is actually going down in terms of loyalty. Where is that? Over here. Why are you so unhappy? It's part of my capital region. Oh, many of you haven't been assimilated yet. I see. Well, in that case, I think that we need to do some more cultural assimilation here. Culture. Yeah, we definitely need to. It's gonna piss them off, but so be it. An invention, which was going to be material science, which is going to allow us to get one more military tradition. So we can get chariot plane combat ability, light infantry planes combat ability. Chariot cost like cavalry cost. Although that leads to the enslavement efficiency and national slave output, which I think is a good choice. So we're going to go for natural resources. And then Glory of the Hunt afterwards. The abundance of arable land and vast tracts of land supporting workable wood give us unparalleled access to the resources we need to create weapons of war. Although, it must be said that we do prefer the mountains rather than stupid, stinky forests. Manpower is going up nicely. We are still earning money. Eidegen troops mobilize. Oh, goody. 20,000 men up there, and he's going to be sucking up my manpower now because these guys I have to pay for. So he has a unit there which can't detach, unfortunately. I saw one of them wasn't loyal. Well, hopefully you stand somewhere where you're not just going to eat up attrition. Yeah, that's actually okay. Getting there, on the other hand, is going to be a problem. Right, the other thing we could do is take a look at where our population are and consider expanding outwards again. So I think Tolitum would be a good spot to send the population from Acro thingy. Nice and cheap. That's 9, that's 10. So if we go and colonize this, yeah, we're not dominant. Let's assimilate. Okay, convert. Now we are. Now we just need a little bit more oratory power. Unfortunately, because all of my rulers' oratory sucks, it's difficult to do that. We're in the top 10. No, we just went down. One more month, and then we can start colonizing. There it is. Then we can get these mountains, and I will be feeling pretty good about that. Bohemia just came back to life, and we have a completely solid border against them. We have a fort here, which is going to block access through that. We don't actually have any forts blocking further access into this area. One in Felicia would actually cover basically everything. There are hills, which would give us a defensive advantage, so I think we're going to go ahead and order a fort here. Use up the majority of our money, but I think it's a worthy investment. And now I'm losing loads of attrition. Because you are determined to march through attrition areas. Which is more than a little annoying, seeing as I have no control over you. Oh, India's had problems. India's got a huge revolt going on right now. Which they are losing badly. Very badly, actually. Wow, this map is really starting to jerk around a bit. Should probably have saved it before doing this. Yeah. I definitely should have saved it before doing this. I'm getting the spinning wheel of death right now. Sound's still working. I'll give it a minute or two. It's now gone white on my screen. Did the same with Nightfall, so only 2 episodes, but I hear it's good. Same for Vikings. I've been watching New Amsterdam recently. That was really good. Better than I kind of expected it to be. At the moment I'm watching The Mentalist again. I had a lot of, oddly enough, a lot of editing and rendering to do recently. Must be something to do with the fact that I was releasing, what, 7 videos a day? Alright, we're going to have to shut this down. That's definitely crashed. And it's still tricking Steam into thinking it's running. It's not running Steam. Which means every time I need to shut Steam down too. So bear with me here a moment. I'm going to turn you off YouTube. We'll see you in a minute.